So first of all, I want to take a few seconds and just thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules. I know this day and age, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things that we all need to get done. So I hope this was a worthwhile 1 hour that you've spent with us. I can tell you that from the feedback that we've gotten about this webinar over the years, that most people do find it to be a ton of information. And usually I see the same names over a course of time viewing the webinar over and over again to try to glean different pieces because there is so much technical information here. My name is Jason Spangler. I'm the flooring division manager here at Wagner Meters. I'm responsible not only for the Rapid RH and the concrete moisture testing side of our business, but I'm also responsible for the small line of hand meters that we have for testing the moisture content of wood subfloors, any kind of wood products, but wood subfloors and finished wood products as far as wood flooring installations, engineered products, things along those lines. We are going to be doing a Q&A session here, so if you have any questions, please type them in. I'll get to as many of them as possible. If for whatever reason I'm not able to get to your question or there's too many, or if I don't answer the question exactly the way it makes sense to you, or if there's more information that you need, please don't hesitate to call me directly. My phone number is 800-634-9961, extension 235. So with that, we'll move on. A couple of things that I get, common questions I get, obviously, as was alluded to or talked about specifically in the webinar, was the fact that relative humidity testing is a very depth-specific measurement. So obviously, in order to get that very depth-specific measurement, first thing you have to have a pretty good idea about is how thick the overall concrete slab is. So when we're dealing with a slab on grade or above grade, but we'll start with on grade, a lot of times you'll have either construction documents, you'll have on rehabs, you'll have trenching where they've opened stuff up and you'll see it prior to them backfilling the trenches. Those are different things that you can look at. What I will say is it's amazing as you start to actually think that you need to know how thick a slab is. It's amazing how many different tells there are on our job site to help you find that information. They do make a device that does allow you to scan or stick the device on the surface of the concrete. It sends a signal through the thickness of the concrete and gives you a very, very close approximation of how thick that slab is. For most people, though, it's kind of a little bit out of their range as far as money because it may not be used as much. Last time I heard, it was about $2,500 for the device. Worst case scenario, there's a lot of people out there that I hear that they're actually drilling a couple of different pilot holes in the slab to get some comparative information. And at that point, you've done your due diligence. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll use a smaller diameter drill bit. They'll drill all the way through the slab. They'll take a piece of wire, make a J-hook out of it. Usually the J-hook's a little bit wider than the overall diameter of the hole, so it's got some compression on it. When you push it down all the way, it gets to the bottom of the hole. The J springs out a little bit, and as you pull it up, you can feel resistance on where it's hooked on the bottom of the slab. Take a Sharpie and mark it off and pull it out, and you can see where the radius of the J was at and where the Sharpie mark's at. Again, you're not going to turn the slab into Swiss cheese, but it gives you some kind of comparative information to compare between one side of the building and the other. As far as elevated slabs, a lot of times, especially if you're looking at like pan decking or if you're looking at, even, pre-tension or post-tension types of slabs, which again, that throws a whole different dynamic into it as far as be very cautious about those kind of slabs, and because they can be very dangerous if you drill into the overall, the tenions in the slabs. But if you're looking at any elevated slabs, any of the penetrations that come through are typically quite a bit bigger than the overall diameter of that penetration. And so if you look for penetrations in stairwells, you look for penetrations in the building throughout, you should be able to get a profile of what the thickness of that slab is so that you can have some idea of how deep to drill your holes. The other question we get a lot is about, again, elevated slabs in pan decking. One, even if it's a vented metal pan deck, it is a slab still drying from only one side, so you need to drill to 40% of that thickness. Now, the recommendation is that you drill to 40% of the thickest area of the pan. So a lot of times you'll have 2.5 inches of coverage in the shallow area and say 5.5 inches of coverage in the thicker area. You want to try to identify that thickest area, and you want to calculate and drill in that area to 40% of whatever that thickness is. There are some devices that you can use to help with trying to identify where those what I call the high hat areas of the concrete. They make devices that are metal detectors that work a lot like stud finders in a wall. And, you know, they're going to be strong enough, have a strong enough signal that you can scan across the concrete and they'll pick up the high point of the metal. You scan across again, pick up the other high point, and now you know center to center where your high points are at so that you can drill right in the middle. It's not perfect. It's not 100% accurate by any stretch of the imagination because of the variations in the make of concrete, but it is a place to start, and the device is under $100. So, you know, for the cost and the benefit from it, definitely an advantage. Okay, it doesn't look like I have any other questions. So again, my name is Jason Spangler. Phone number is 800-634-9961, extension 235. Thanks and have a great day.